Weekly stratagem today. Surgical strike, summoner, and extreme challenge. Alright, so this stratagem is a lot more dangerous than it looks. I've seen some people talk about, oh, it's an easy one this week. Nah. This stratagem is terribly designed. Terribly designed. Here's the thing. With extreme challenge and summoner, you are going to get bum rushed by extremists practically the entire time. It is so obnoxious to the point where if you use any weapons that don't have burst damage, like a Melta, even the LF felt like it was too slow for this stratagem. Like, dude, the LF is pretty good against extremists. I mean, against Tyranids and Chaos, though, it's kind of mixed. It's kind of a mixed bag, depending also how many extremists are also on the table. So, yeah, even weapons like the Stalker Bolt Rifle, it just feels like it's not enough because what is happening is you're getting bum rushed by 2 Lictors, a Ravener, and you have Surgical Strike. So, the issue here is the combo potential between multiple extremists and then your ability to parry being nerfed, it puts a lot of classes on their heels and immediately eviscerates them, immediately stun locks them because they're missing parries because of Surgical Strike. And then they're also, like, for example, the heavy class, their base parry is balanced. So if you're missing one parry, you're getting stun locked and comboed off on, immediately killing you. Everyone that I have joined into this stratagem with died immediately. And not to mention, I will say, there's been a lot of players who are jumping in with heavy or tactical, and they're using, extra ammo team perks. They're using, aligned aim. Aligned aim does nothing for you here. Actually, I will go as far as to say Secure Stockpile is the only useful tactical perk for this stratagem. That is insanely terribly designed. I think the devs seriously need to look at the way they're balancing this game because there shouldn't be a class that only has one useful team perk. That shouldn't even be the case across the board, let alone one of the most important classes because of, scan. Well, effectively, tactical, if you run with a tactical player who is not using Secure Stockpile, you're losing out on so much damage potential, especially for this stratagem, because you need the burst damage. You need the splash damage. You need the Meltas, the Shocks, the Crack Grenades. You need all of that. And there are so many players that I still see jumping into stratagems with, like, regardless of their level, they're not picking meta builds in a stratagem that specifically requires meta. Again, it doesn't look like it, but this weekly is incredibly cheap. It is incredibly it basically forces you to play fencing builds with Meltas. That's effectively what it is forcing you to do, and I hate that design. I like the fact that we can actually, think our way through conditions and everything like that. Like, don't get me wrong, I will be playing the weekly. I don't even know if I'll get hard completed, to be completely honest, but I'll be playing normal at the very least. But yeah, I mean, it's just so frustrating because I'm jumping into these operations, I'm jumping into these missions, I am using tactical, I have fencing, I have Secure Stockpile, I have everything I need, and still, as soon as one person goes down, you're getting bum rushed by multiple extremists, and you have lower parry windows. So if you miss one parry, you're dead. And not to mention, if you also trade within a gun strike, you're dead. You're dead. It's stupid. It is so stupid. This type of difficulty is this just feels like the devs don't even think about this stuff. Like, genuinely. When it comes to hard difficulty, when it comes to the punishment and whatever, like, we've talked about difficulty in the past, but this is where I start to seriously unwind a little bit because it's like, okay, they threw some pretty easy weeklies at us, but this one definitely shows that the devs don't play their own game. 100%. It's specific. You basically need Duelist or a fencing weapon with this. And not to mention, you need to make sure that you have burst damage to the point where you can take Extremis off the table before another Extremis shows up. The issue here is Extreme Challenge with Summoner can effectively loop you in to like perma-spawning extremists. Just because, you know, an extremist will show up, you can probably take out like 1 or 2 if you just have one hanging out. As soon as every uninterrupted call of reinforcement, it has to be uninterrupted. As soon as they do a call for reinforcements, they'll get another extremist, and yeah, it just snowballs. It snowballs incredibly fast, and I do not see enough players understanding like how unfair this is yet. I'm seeing heavy players die within the first couple minutes, if that, because they don't have meltas. Like, that's stupid, man. That is stupid. You should be able to jump into hard conditions with, like, creative builds, not be forced into something. That I don't like. I hate that, to be completely honest. So, yeah, I wanted to talk about this weekly. I jumped in a few random queues on hard stratagems. Sure, yeah, there were some underlevel players who I pointed out to them, you're underleveled, you're not going to be able to complete this, because I'm so confident in saying that because I'm seeing level 25s getting absolutely washed with this new weekly. It's insane. It's insane. I just wanted to vent about this a little bit. I'm going to go into the reactions and to the comments, but I'm just warning you guys right now. This is the I don't know. I don't want to say the word dumb, but like lowbrow. Like, this is the cheapest way to try to like artificially inflate difficulty in your game that I've ever seen. It's just so stupid. It's so stupid. You literally need meltas. You need secure stockpile. You need a specific setup. If you're jumping into this with a sniper, or if you're jumping into this with like bulwark is kind of good here. To be completely honest, bulwark is kind of good. But if you see zoanthrope start to build up, you will definitely notice, you know, melee builds having a rough time. So I just wanted to warn you guys that I've seen a lot of people say this one's an easy one. It's not. Surgical Strike with Extreme Challenge is so stupid. And not to mention, Surgical Strike is bugged anyway. So this is a bug that Crimson actually pointed out to me in the comments. And yeah, this is Surgical Strike. What is happening here is, you can look at the armor right here. When they parry, when you have the Surgical Strike condition, you won't get an armor back. This is actually a lot more detrimental specifically for this weekly than people think. Because, again, with Surgical Strike, you are losing out on parry windows, and now you're also losing out on armor because Surgical Strike is bugged. Because the devs seriously need to understand that their game needs more work. Like, they seriously, when it comes to stratagems, like, I have a fun time with certain stratagems, with most stratagems, to be honest. But when you see the hard mode stratagems where it's like it has a bugged condition, or things just don't overlap correctly when it comes to random queues specifically, because a lot of people just don't understand how unfair this stuff is, man. Like, it's insane. Like, okay, you know what? I'll talk about aligned aim in a different slide here. But yeah, Surgical Strike is bugged, where if you parry gaunts or any other, you know, minorists or anything like that, you're not getting armor back. This is pretty detrimental to this new stratagem specifically. Meme vent. You know the new weekly's bad when there's a meme made about it. Doing the hard weekly stratagem, 5 billion Terminators. Can't lie, boys, I think this one is impossible. So what's making this one impossible is the fact that we have lessened parry windows. It's not impossible, by the way. It's not impossible, but you need to make sure you're either using duelist or fencing weapons and heavy burst damage, like a multi-melta, which is tricky. This is the tricky part, because like not every class has heavy burst damage like that. You know what I mean? Like the assault class is probably in a pretty good position for this. Like always, the assault class is in a great position for stratagems. But with this weekly specifically, if one of your teammates go down, keep in mind, you're going to have less parry windows and more extremists rushing you. So practically, if one person goes down, you're taking so much more aggro, and you even have less options to protect yourself, where things just start to snowball. Again, you seriously need fencing and burst damage for this one. It's not impossible, but it's practically impossible for randoms. Like, seriously, the amount of people I jumped into the hard mode weekly with, who are like just using just whatever team perks they want, And I already know, like, once this is the one stratagem where you can jump into a game, check out the team perks people are using, and know if you have a chance or not. Because if you see the tactical with, physiology, you're cooked. You're cooked. You need secure stockpile. You need all of that burst damage. Like seriously, that's why I'm kind of annoyed by this weekly, is just because you need to have a specific build. And not to mention, even if you had that specific build, it doesn't guarantee that your teammates are using anything that's good for this condition or good for this weekly. So you could still be put into a position, even if your teammates are level 25, prestige 4, you can be put in a position where you still need to carry, and it's just twice as impossible because you have, again, less parry windows and the extremists rushing you. So if you're getting attacked by, like, multiple lictors, like a lictor and a ravener, and there's a zoanthrope, you're cooked, man. There's nothing. There's a lot of classes that just don't have answers for this one. Like, when I was playing sniper on this weekly, it felt really weird, to be honest. Like, I could get parries fine, but I wasn't. The LFs, the snipers, the actual sniper weapons weren't really enough to take out these extremists. I will say I didn't try the Stalker bolt rifle. I assumed the Stalker bolt rifle might be the play here for sniper, but I tried the bolt sniper and the LF, and yeah, outside of zoanthropes, it's just too much because you consistently have to juggle the extremists you are parrying, and then within that, you need to make sure you hit headshots with the sniper. It's just asks for a lot. But I will say, if you're playing sniper in this stratagem, I think there's a way you can play around it, but it really comes down to the fact that, like, if you have a heavy on your team with the multi-melta and he dies, you're so cooked, man. You are so cooked. Like, nobody can die in this weekly. This is, oh man, I don't like the design of this weekly at all. I don't like the design of surgical strikes, really, to be completely honest. I would like it if it was an actual trade-off, but it's not. It's actually just nerfing your parries for nothing, for no reason. I genuinely don't think you get damage from those parries. The extremist spawn rate for this is nuts. Before we even got to the first elevator, 2 to 3 waves of extremists swarmed around. My first group had a Prestige 1 level 6 assault. Yeah, that's terrible. I watched him die, then left. Yeah, that's exactly what you should do. If you're going to come into something this insane with a level 6, bro, I've seen people level 16, and they weren't able to do anything. Like, they died immediately. I've seen the same thing with level 25s, to be fair. You deserve to get obliterated. My fourth group seceded. We had the Trinity, heavy with Bonds of Brotherhood. Yes, Bonds of Brotherhood is still very good. It's still... See, this is a thing. So many people gaslit themselves thinking they never go down in this game. When hard stratagems came around and nobody's using Bonds of Brotherhood, now they're all frustrated talking about, oh, wow, we're dying so fast and there's nothing we can do. Well, brother, you're not even healing yourself. What else do you expect? But, okay, yeah, let's continue. Vanguard with Unmatched Zeal and Bulwark with Advanced Conditioning. We eliminated 45 extremists by the time it was done, another 350 in my coffers. So, yeah, that's a really good strat. This is basically the way you should build your team for the stratagem. I just don't like the fact that you have to rely, when it comes to random queues specifically, you have to rely on players being aware enough, and it's really hard to do that because half the time you're not even getting players who are ready for this because they're under-leveled, and then the other half of the time you're getting level 25s Prestige 4s, but they're playing heavy with, more ammo, when that's not even... You don't even need it because you have a prestige perk that can regenerate ammo. It's so ridiculous. Oh man, yeah, this one, I'm definitely going to be playing this weekly. Don't let my rant get to you. I'm just trying to warn a lot of people as soon as possible. Man, this weekly is probably the most obnoxious weekly I played in a long time, man. Like, there's been way too many times where I'm parrying well enough, and then my teammate goes down, and there's just not enough parries in the game for me to survive a Lictor bombardment from, also other whip majors and everything like that. And then when you get the chaos, you'll have chaos spawn, which is annoying, but then you'll have a lot of chaos spawning with a lot of terminators. It just, yeah, you can see why this is so terrible. Very annoying mission this was. Just did it with my Vanguard, a Bulwark, and a Heavy. Yep. You're gonna notice that a lot. Since you get extra Extremis spawns, you're more tied up, while the reinforcement also summons an Extremis. This snowballs and results in endless waves if you're not careful, but the big issue for me was the parry window. It messes with your muscle memory so much, and you mess up against 5 Terminators. Yeah, GG. Made it in the end, but I very much dislike modifiers that adjust core gameplay like parry windows, dodge, etc. I agree. I wouldn't mind surgical strikes if A, it wasn't bugged, and also B, if it actually had a worth it trade-off that felt like it was working correctly. Like, seriously, surgical strikes, the actual parry damage, quote unquote, is so minuscule that you can hardly notice it. It's not like intimidating aura. It's cool to like think of surgical strikes with intimidating aura, like that's kind of cool, I guess, but still, like for tactical or a sniper, that extra parry damage is non-existent. It's pretty pathetic. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this weekly. I wanted to vent about this weekly because jumping into this with random queues, nah, man. There's way too many people who don't understand how much this like forces you into a play style. You can't just jump in there with like a heavy bolt rifle. It's too slow. It's way too slow. Even the bolt sniper felt too slow, unless you saw zoanthropes and neurothropes, like something like that. If you see Terminators, that's fine too. But when it came to Raveners and Lictors and Sorcerers, because Sorcerers shield themselves to make it a little bit more difficult to snipe them, with Sniper, that just felt way too inconvenient. Like, even tactical, it's kind of like, I don't know, Secure Stockpile is really good. But if you do have a heavy, I think with, if you have a heavy with, like, the Melta, you should be good, and then the Vanguard also has a Melta. I think you should be okay. But yeah, again, I just don't like how this stratagem, it just forces you into a playstyle, and not to mention, it just completely, it really does nerf a lot of the builds in this game, considering how many builds actually kind of rely on, you know, balance parries. I wonder, I bet you blocking's still pretty good against Surgical Strike, because Surgical Strike only mentions parries. It does not mention blocks. So maybe that's the way to play around it. But yeah, just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a warning, a little bit of a rant. It is what it is. I will be jumping back into the weekly, but the experience I've had with this weekly was not good. And I don't know. I'm just sick of that, dude, to be honest. I want to jump into a hard stratagem with either players who are ready for that hard stratagem, or a hard stratagem that doesn't just, like, take away things for no reason. Like, seriously, Surgical Strikes doesn't feel like it's working correctly. And judging by the amount of perks in this game that aren't working correctly, I think I'd have a pretty good 50-50 chance on just guessing that. So, I don't know. But yeah, this one's definitely frustrating. Again, Vanguard, Bulwark, and Heavy's probably your best bet here. I still think Tactical with Secure Stockpile is really good, but I mean, the Assault class also has some pretty good burst damage. Maybe it's just Sniper. Maybe Sniper's just not in a good spot for this one. I don't know. Let me know in the comments how you guys feel about this, and thanks for watching.